The Giants prepare to head up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the red-hot Seattle Seahawks. So, to help us break down this matchup from an Emerald City point of view is the producer for Field Gulls. I like that. Mookie Alexander joins us for another edition of Know Your Enemy. Mookie, I love the hair, my man. You ready to get into this thing?
Yeah, I am. And I tell you what, with football and with sports in general, people think they know everything. But the great thing about sports is nobody knows everything. In fact, more often than not, we know nothing. Nobody would have predicted that this game would be one of the more important ones of the Week 8 slate.
I love the quote. We're going to put that in a fortune cookie. So let's get this thing started right now. What areas do you think Seattle can exploit the Giants and have them sleepless in Seattle?
I would say the run defense. And as great as the Giants story has been, I'm impressed by their pass defense, but the run defense, they've given up 5.7 yards per carry, which is tied with the Chargers for worst in the league. And even if you go by advanced metrics through Football Outsiders, their DVOA is near the bottom of the league. And the Seahawks rushing attack has really been outstanding the past few weeks, including this past Sunday against the Chargers, with rookie sensation Kenneth Walker III picking up 168 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So even with the loss of Rashad Penny, Walker has stepped in seamlessly and looked like the franchise running back that the Seahawks hoped he would be. So I believe that because, especially with DK Metcalf's injury and his status being uncertain, the Seahawks may be inclined to try and establish a dominant rushing attack against the Giants defense that is vulnerable against the run. So I believe that is going to be the top key for Seattle's game planning this week, especially with the passing attack, as I mentioned, already being a bit shorthanded potentially with Metcalf. The blitzing of Wink Martindale could fluster an inexperienced offensive line. So if they can counter that by running the ball effectively, that would be huge for the Seahawks offense.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker has been lightning in a bottle for this Seahawks offense. And the Giants' rush defense, yeah, they haven't been that great, but Seattle's rush defense ain't been that pretty either. So do you think that the Giants' run game still concerns you, considering both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are coming off of 100-plus yard games?
Yeah, it does. Now, the Seahawks run defense has gotten a little better over the past couple of weeks. They held Benjamin in check in the Arizona win, and Austin Eckler was a non-factor for the Chargers, but the Chargers barely have a rushing attack. What makes the Giants different is the fact that they have Saquon Barkley, who's up there with Geno Smith as far as comeback player of the year contenders. And then you have the mobility of Daniel Jones. And I think back to the Saints game for the Seahawks, in which they gave up over 100 yards to both Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. And that's the first time in Seahawks franchise history that they've ever allowed multiple 100-yard rushers in a game. They allowed over 100 yards against Jamal Williams of Detroit, so he's the backup to DeAndre Swift. They have had trouble stopping the run. So as much as I've been encouraged with the way that they have defended the run better in recent weeks, this is a much, much stiffer test in the form of the Giants, because not only do you have to deal with Barkley being so shifty in the open field, and he's got that incredible speed, but Daniel Jones, like I said, very mobile, and the Seahawks have not had the best of times against mobile quarterbacks. In fact, you look at some of their worst performances against mobile quarterbacks or against the run, they involve the quarterback being a threat. So that can include Taysom Hill, even if he wasn't really the main quarterback, Andy Dalton was. Kyler Murray still rushed for 100, and the Seahawks passing defense might have shut him down, but we know how dangerous Kyler can be. So Daniel Jones, even if he's down, a couple of receivers, and Daniel Bellinger, got to be wary about his legs and his ability to extend plays and also be a threat on design runs.
Daniel Jones being mentioned in the same sentence as Kyler Murray and Taysom Hill. What a time to be alive. All right, let's talk about X factors. Who will be the X factor for Seattle in this game?
Well, I'll give you a group because, again, I mentioned DK Metcalf. He's got the patellar tendon injury, and we don't know if he'll play. I wouldn't be shocked if he missed this game and maybe more. But the tight end group for the Seahawks, you've got Will Dissly, local product out of University of Washington. You have Noah Fant, who was acquired in the Russell Wilson blockbuster trade, and Colby Parkinson, who had been injured the first couple of years and not really a part of the offense. He's a third-year tight end out of Stanford. Combined, they have 48 catches for 505 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Geno Smith has really made the most of using his tight ends. I mean, he's 48 of 54. It is extremely efficient. And with Metcalf out, I expect the Seahawks to use more 13 personnel, which is one running back, three tight ends, and all of them are receiving threats. And Disley in particular passes his way 19 of 20 for 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the Giants have had some troubles with tight ends this year, notably Mark Andrews a couple of weeks back. But I believe that the tight end group, led by Disley, of all the tight ends, I think that's going to be the big X factor for Seattle on Sunday.
Ooh, when you mention tight end, a lot of Giants fans get tight ends because, like you said, they've definitely been Giants killers throughout the last couple of weeks. If you want to hear more and actually read more from Mookie, head on over to Field Gulls, GULLS.com. Mookie, thanks for your time, my man.
All right, great to be on.